And hello everyone, it's Henry again, and welcome to a super cool video today. Today we're going to be talking about the basics of flying a sailplane. And believe it or not, this video really brings me back to my grassroots because this is how I started my flying career. Before I got my pilot's license, I had my glider's pilot's license. And that really had the grassroots of aviation, right? So flying without an engine, using nothing but a tow plane or winch up, and then using the natural elements to stay in the air as gravity brings you down. Honestly, like, this video means a lot just because it really does bring us back. Today we're flying the ASK-21 in X-Plane 11, and my god, it's a beautiful plane in real life. Beautiful wings, of course, very flexible wings. It's a beautiful aircraft, guys. Honestly, if you've never had a chance of flying a glider in real life, highly suggested. It's totally different than flying in an actual powered aircraft because it's a lot quieter, right? Because you don't have to worry about your engine, and it's more environmentally friendly, right? So there you go. And thinking about it, I am qualified to fly the space shuttle because that's a glider, technically, on final approach anyways. Okay, besides the point, let's get flying, and I'll add in a little few bits and bobs of info as we go along. So let's unpause our simulation. We are in X-Plane 11 today, and let's take off here. So as you can see, we're using a tow plane today. Joe, the tow plane pilot, is nice enough to give us a free tow. So yeah, let's get off the ground here. Let's let him get off the ground as well, and then get off here. So before we get too high, I am a quote-unquote civilian tow plane flyer, whatever you want to call it. As you can see on the horizon, I have his main gear. That's the correct position you want to be in. Other organizations and flying clubs, so like Royal Canadian Air Cadets, they teach you to fly it up here. So see how the wings on the horizon? Honestly, do whatever you're taught, but I was first taught to have them on the horizon, so it's just right there, right? Again, before we get too high, I'm going to show you one more thing. It's called Box the Wash. All new glider pilots have to master this trick. It's basically you learn like your limits on a tow, right? So right now, if I go all the way to the left, so his vertical stabilizer kind of goes to the right side of the canopy there. I go down into like this box here, and then I would be flying through his prop wash, so like very turbulent airflow from his engine right around here. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You keep going until you reach the right side, you come back up, and then you go back into the center. That's kind of a basic box to wash. I kind of did it dirty there, but just show you what that is. Alright, so before we release here, there's a few different ways to release. Honestly, I was just taught the release when you feel like it because that's the simplest, and if you find a thermal, go for it. Like, you paid for the tow. Other organizations, such as Air Cadets, you have to go into high tow position, so up here, and then you get slack and then release. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, just if you find a thermal, release. So technically, tow plane flies and then goes left. We go right 90 degrees. So let's release in 3, 2, 1. Goodbye, tow plane, and we are clear, free to navigate. The sky is ours, and nothing but the wind. Isn't that beautiful? So yeah, so looks like we're at around 3,800 here. Let's trim it out. Beauty. Again, the first thing you notice when you're first flying a glider in real life is nothing. Like, that's a beautiful sound. It's just the wind. That's all it is. So let's trim for a little bit slower speed here. There you go, kilometers an hour. All right. So again, the first things first. We don't have an engine, as you can probably tell by now. That's probably the most important thing about gliding. So since we don't have an engine, we control our speed with our attitude. So as you can see, we have a horizon here. It's kind of hazy, just like it would be in real life. If I bring the horizon up, as you know, our airspeed goes down. And if I lower the horizon, our airspeed goes up. Of course, altitude is something you have to really worry about, because we can't get that altitude back unless if we use the magical field thing, whatever you want to call it, called thermaling. It is the method by using the rising hot air from the ground and using that air to gain altitude. So pretty much with thermaling, there's multiple ways you can find a thermal in real life. So The easiest way is birds. So we always see birds going around in circles. They fly around in circles. Obviously, don't hit a bird. That's too much paperwork. Another way is looking at clouds. So you have a lower cumulus clouds on a nice summer day. Tend to be on the darker side of the cloud. That's where thermals usually are. All right. And the thing about a thermal is that, as you know, the darker colors are, the easier they absorb light. So a darker field or a parking lot or something like that is going to produce more thermals, quite possibly, than a very light field of flowers, something like that. I learned at a place called York Soaring here in Ontario, Canada, and we had a lake near York Soaring, and we literally called that the Great Sink because, as you know, water absorbs heat, so we have a lot of sink in that area, so the opposite of thermals. So let's get to business here. Let's go thermal hunting. So let's just get our attitude looking good here. Don't want to lose too much altitude. Just getting off a cold, guys. All right, so first things first, in the glider cockpit, as you can see, we have a few instruments here, nothing crazy. We don't have a Garmin 500 or anything. The first thing I want you to know is if we look here, we kind of have something that looks like two VSIs, right? Right now, they're both showing, oh my gosh, we are gaining altitude. How is that possible? It's because we are in a thermal right now. And I may have set the simulation a little bit too easy right now. I'm just going to fly out of the thermal, so come on, fly out of it. You're just looking at our altitude, and it's just going up and up and up. Yeah, you wouldn't really see this on a normal day, but yeah, that's the nice thing about the aspect ratio of a glider. It gives you a really nice ability to gain altitude. All right, so let's say we're flying along without this thermal that we're currently in right now, and we get a thermal. Awesome. What I would do is that I'd actually fly through the thermal until you start not gaining altitude again. And that's kind of how you gauge how big a thermal is. And then you can turn around nice and gently, reduce that airspeed, because the slower you are, the easier it is to stay in a thermal, and use gentle movements, right? So now we're outside of the thermal, but I know that we flew through it. In the thermal again, you might notice a very complicated instrument in front of me called a thread. So, there's the thermal. So I'm just going to fly a little bit further into it, and then we're going to start our nice, let's go counterclockwise. There we go. Make it nice and tight. There we go. So you can see the altimeter. We're gaining altitude. We're starting to get out. There we go. We captured a thermal. With no engine, we are using solar power because we are gods, and we can use amazing energy like that. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, the most expensive instrument, LOL, just kidding, 5 cents can buy you a wonderful piece of string and some duct tape. And that's what this little thing in the thing is right there. Honestly, it's actually your turn bank coordinator. You see it on some helicopters, you see it on gliders, maybe some normal aircraft. But what that is that since we're in a bank right now, I'm gonna give right rudder. And look what happens, it goes off to the right. That's because we're in an uncoordinated turn. So if I just center it back, there you go, we're in a more coordinated turn, all right? And vice versa. So it's just a really cheap turn bank coordinator. We always joke that it's the most important instrument of a glider, but it's the cheapest. Funny story from York Soaring is that I've only been airsick once in my entire life, and that was in a glider because I was flying in a SK-21 like this one, but in the back seat, right? So the empty back seat right here. Me and my buddy, we were flying for probably 3 or 4 hours in a glider, and thermaling, you're obviously flying in circles quite often, and I was severely dehydrated, but I didn't know it. So flying in circles, being dehydrated, it started to drive heave, and my buddy didn't know what was going on. He didn't find out until afterwards. Luckily, I didn't have anything to throw up, but that's the only time that I have ever got airsick. So moral of the story, stay hydrated. Okay, so we're just gonna stop thermaling. We're up to around 5,000 feet here. Let's get our airspeed back up because I want to show you something else really interesting with gliding. So let's get our airspeed up here and let's do a medium stall. All right, medium stall, no engine. We're pulling back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, and there you go. Nice recover here. Come on, buddy. The thing with a glider is that since you don't have an engine, you use your you pretty much use your altitude to recover the stall, right? Which in real life, stalling in a glider is so much more fun because again, it's more violent, right? Because it's like if I do an aggravated stall here, so like a steep stall of 60 degrees, get our airspeed back up. Let's pull back. Let's do a 60-degree stall. Just watch how fast this happens. I mean, I'm pulling back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Keep it steady and down like that. In real life, you could really feel a stall. Like in a glider, it's so much more fun. Going back to the good old days, you know. Some gliders are also equipped with a wonderful audio tool. So there you go. So if we're in a thermal, you have an audio, so the higher the beeps, more beeps, and vice versa. There you go. That's what that is. It's not some kind of funny entertainment thing. Yeah, the funny thing about the ASK-21 is that it's a glider, but it's actually certified, I believe, up to 6 Gs. Oh, it even says right there. So yes, you can do aerobatics in a K-21 glider. We have they have, I haven't been there in a while, 2 K-21s down at York Soaring and a few aerobatics instructors. And of course you have to wear parachutes and stuff. But it's just Manfred Radius. He was one of my flight instructors, and he's a famous glider aerobatics pilot, and he's from Germany, Deutschland. And he he shows you how to do a lot of fun stuff. You know, it's like, okay, Henry, we're going to be doing wingovers. Oh, it's just loads of fun. Yeah, honestly, like I have friends who have stayed in the air for pretty much the entire day. They've traveled hundreds of kilometers. It's just amazing what you can do. Literally running off solar power, you know, like it's absolutely amazing. Okay, everyone, that's kind of it for today. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun, go back to my grassroots because summer's coming up. I want to get gliding again. What about you guys? Do you guys have any fun flying stories, gliding stories, experiences that you want to talk about? Or do you have any questions about gliding or things like that? Because honestly, like this is such an amazing part of aviation that I don't think has enough, we don't hear enough of gliding recently. And especially like with all this stuff, how we're talking about eco-friendly and everything else, I think gliding is going to become even huger in future years. And I really hope it does because especially like I have a few French friends who do gliding in the French Alps and places like that. And especially the Swiss are crazy about gliding, and Austria, all those other people. Honestly, you guys, leave a comment below if you have any experience in gliding or if you have any questions. And I just want to say thanks again for all your support. Like 80 subscribers, that's crazy. Like I thought you guys would get annoyed by me by now, but really, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. As well as check out York Soaring on their website. They have the manuals for the K-21. You can stock pictures of me, whatever. But again, thanks a lot, guys, for your support. And as always, happy landings.